You know what I thought? I
What?
thought the way that we're going into this is a
Yeah,
perfect representation of our personalities.
it really is.
Planning for 14 days. You have a freaking logo. I have my hair, and I decided to work out 5 minutes before. And yeah, this is a perfect representation. You're like, okay, I have this ready and this ready and this ready. And I said, okay, I have some books to stack my laptop on, and I'm good to go. Here we are.
Here we are.
Mazel tov.
Cheers.
Welcome to the mid. Welcome to the mid. Welcome to the mid. Welcome to the mid.
You're listening to the mid. Recording in progress.
We
and
are
here
recording.
we are.
Yeah.
The first episode of the mid. Welcome to our one listener.
Yes.
And anyone who decides to listen to this once we're, obviously very well established and they go back into our catalog, they'll
see, wow,
just,
that's where they started.
wow. It's just meager beginnings, humble beginnings.
Yeah.
So our podcast is The Mid. I'm Teresa.
I'm Wendy.
And this is a podcast based on the fact that we are lifelong friends and we think that we're very entertaining. So we've decided in order to entertain each other and get to know each other even better after 40 years of friendship, that we were going to ask each other questions on topics that interest us, titillate us.
Yeah.
We come back to in themes in our conversations or in our lives. Going forward, we will be asking each other a question a week, taking turns. But for now, tonight, we've decided that we will focus on friendship because we are friends at mid-age. And so we're going to focus on what friendship means at the midpoint of your life.
Yeah. And on how friendships might change over time and what makes them last, and reflection and growth going forward from midlife.
Ooh, I like it. It's very deep.
Yeah.
I like your prep.
I took notes.
So did you want to start by asking me a question?
Yeah, sure. Okay, this is more about how friendships change over time. If you had to describe the way your friendships have evolved from your younger years to now, how would you describe that? Like in comparison?
Like friendships that I still have, or the way that friendships work with me? Like the way that I relate with my friendships.
The way that you relate with your friendships. So like the way you valued a friendship, like whatever, 20, 30 years ago?
No, I can easily speak to that. Yep.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think I was a very good friend when I was younger. I think I was super moody in general, and you can probably attest to that. I was a really moody younger person, like teenager especially. I wasn't a very good daughter. I wasn't a very
I think every teenager is.
Yeah, but I think I was pretty bad because I was allowed to get away with a lot in terms of how I spoke to my parents. And I think that probably carried over into my friendships a bit. I think it was looking back now with the lens of some therapy and whatnot, I think it was probably self-protection. I think that I didn't do well and probably still struggle with vulnerability. So I think that, as you do whatever work you do on yourself as you're getting older, that also reflects in your friendships, right? So I would say that I've become much more mindful with my friendships. I had this thing written down because we tried to be organized. This is our second take. We should tell people we did a first take, and
we did do a first take.
A whole lot of me talking.
Wine. We had wine.
Yeah, and it wasn't spectacular. So we're drinking tea and water.
Yeah.
And being a bit more organized, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some of the notes I put actually touch on this because I wrote, what you cultivate, you grow. And or what you cultivate grows. And I think that that's true. Obviously, it seems simplistic, but it's true for everything at midpoint, right? So you have to mindfully put some attention and intention towards things that you want to cultivate in your life. And for me, I've had primarily male friendships. Like not that I haven't had female friendships, but the bulk of my friendships have been, this group of guy friends. And those were the ones I think you've kind of bookended my life, right? Like you were there at the very beginning and then came back into my life in my 30s. Yeah. And then in the meantime, I had cultivated friendships and I was very sure I only wanted these male friendships, that women were quite difficult, which they are. it's more complex and you have to deal with all these layers of innuendo. And my relationships with men in a friendship stance didn't have that, right? It was much more simplistic. There
Right.
wasn't always explaining that you didn't mean that, or, it
Mm,
was a lot of stuff just rolled off people's backs, and you could be a bit, what would seem disrespectful to a woman might not be
yeah.
disrespectful to a man, and you can kind of not worry about everything you say and do.
Emotions as much and
Yeah. And then I
yeah.
hit probably 40s and I really noticed a lack of female friendships, right? And I had you and I had a couple of other friends. And that's when I started, I think, putting more intention into my female friendships and thinking like I need people with a shared experience
Mhm.
of all of the things of a 40
Yeah.
something year old, the motherhood, the changing hormonal body types,
Menopause. Yeah.
well, just the overall woman experience. Men, at that point, I noticed that my male friends hadn't changed too much, but I had changed a
Interesting.
lot.
Okay.
Yeah. And I needed to go deeper into stuff with people and have those types of conversations I don't think I would have been able to have with them. Not to say my male friends are still amazing. We do have very good conversations, but I needed to refocus on female friendships. And that's
Right.
what I think I've been intentionally cultivating.
Okay.
You and I already had our friendship, but I think we've really put a lot more intention, especially in the last couple of years,
Yes, making sure
because of
we
proximity. Yep.
prioritizing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Making sure, yeah,
absolutely.
like we've got our quarterly, we stick to our quarterly, we have to see each other quarterly. And
Yeah.
sometimes we do more than that, but we
That's
never do
actually one of my
less.
points too, is like, how do you feel that you need to, do you feel that you need to prioritize more now versus, a few years back?
Which I don't
And
get. And I don't know what you think of this because I feel like we were so much busier with younger kids,
yes, absolutely.
physically busier, like running
Yeah.
around. I don't know what happens. Like, did we just get more tired where now we have to prioritize things? Because I seem to have been able to do all the things. And now, for some reason,
What do
everything
you
takes
mean?
much like
Like when you had
prioritizing.
younger kids, you were able to prioritize your friendships more?
I feel like I saw people more, or I did things more. And now I feel like
But your situation was a bit different because when your kids were younger, they were involved in a lot of activities, right? So you actually became friends with a lot of the like soccer parents and things like that. So you actually
fair.
had a community there, right?
Yeah, yeah, that might
So
be
that's a
true.
little different. That's probably why it feels like you
I think I feel
prioritized it, but
busier
I think it
now.
was just circumstance.
I think what I'm saying is I feel busier now, but there's no reason for me to feel busier now. Maybe I
Yeah.
just work more. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe it's a mind shift too. Like maybe mentally you're giving more headspace to work, right?
Yeah. And I like
Instead
being at home a
of,
lot more than I used to, I
yeah, me
think is
too.
the difference too.
It's a thing. It's like, you can't, if somebody asks me to, go out for dinner, not that many people do, but if somebody asks me to go out for dinner at like 8 o'clock, I'm like, fuck, that's like
Eight
almost bedtime.
o'clock. No, 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 no. Like maybe once a year. I don't know. 8 o'clock seems like ridiculous and
Like
European and
Christmas maybe or
unable.
something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I have to have nothing to do the next day though.
Yeah,
Like
that's
eight
it. It's like it
o'clock.
has to be
I'm
a
going to
Friday
bed
or
at 1 a.m.
Saturday.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
No, 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 no.
So I think the bringing it back to that, the requiring maintenance is what I wrote. So I think
Hmm.
friendships as you age require maintenance. And because they require maintenance, you're more likely to kind of analyze them a bit more because if you're going to give your time and your energy
Yes.
at our age, then you're going to be like, okay, is this friendship viable? Is it still
Yeah.
growing? Is it
Is it
something
worth
that,
it?
yeah,
Flat out,
exactly.
really. And I don't
So I
mean to
think
sound
that's how
harsh, but
it's
it's
changed. No,
true. I
but
mean,
you like yourself more, or I like myself
yes.
more. We like ourselves more than I
Yeah.
did when I was 15 or 16. So what I
Hmm.
do with my time and how I spend my time and whom I spend that time with has become much more paramount,
Yeah. Exactly.
right?
Yeah. I 100% agree.
So I think that's my answer. If I answered you,
Yeah. You did.
good.
Yeah.
Look at that.
You got one?
I got one. Do I have one? Okay, so what are things that what are things that friendship cannot endure at our time? So we're talking about the fact, like, if you're doing that analysis of a friendship,
Yeah.
if you're looking at a friendship, what can't,
Work?
so I wrote it more in an answer, but I'm trying to rework it into a question. So things that you can't endure, we've touched on this in our first take.
Yeah.
What are the things like your deal breakers? Like
Oh,
what are the things
yes.
that friendship at our age can't endure, right?
Yeah.
That you can't. So for instance, I'll just give you one answer and then you can run out. Like jealousy and comparison.
Okay. Yeah.
My friendships can't endure that. Like I cannot
Yeah.
tolerate that in a
Yeah.
friendship.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Oh, was that me?
I I burped my tea and then I started choking.
I gotta close my email. It's going to ding.
I know, and Ella's texting me like, all the best laid plans.
We'll edit. Yes, I think values the same, not necessarily the same values. It doesn't have to be like identical to mine, but similar, honestly, and as superficial as this might sound, I mentioned this in the first take as well, is where we both are in our lives, right? Like, so if I meet somebody who's just starting a family, I know that's not going to be a deep connecting friendship for me because I am not there and I don't want to be there. I don't want to relive all the terrible twos with your child and your stresses and everything. And again,
Well, they're never going
I
to be
don't mean
available.
to, yeah, exactly. There's that. There's just, there won't be a connection because I can no longer relate at this phase of my life to that. All of my kids are growing up. The youngest one's 14 and I'm just not there. That's kind of a deal breaker for me,
I
as
don't like
bad as that
kids either.
sounds.
No,
Yeah,
well, I
no,
don't like
like
children either, to be honest.
no, I mean,
No.
it's, I've been there, done that. There were six in our house and I'm over it. Like, I don't want to go back there and I don't
Well, and
need
like we
to,
said, we've only really liked our own anyway, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's funny. I posed this to someone at work who is a woman around our age with no children. She's never been married, never had children, very conscious decision in that regard. And,
Hmm.
but I congratulate her on that decision all the time.
Hmm.
Um, and I said something to her about friendships with that I can't be friends with someone who has little kids, and that you and I were discussing this, and she feels 100% the same way. Like she has no room for it.
I think a lot of women will, honestly, at the midpoint of life once their kids have, you know what I mean? Like I no longer have that capacity to relate to somebody in that position anymore. Like I'm gone. I'm gone from it. I've lived it. I've done it, and I don't want to go back. And
I feel
it's,
like I'd be super critical of their parenting too. I would not be
you know
someone
what?
that
You're
you'd
right.
want. You wouldn't want me as a friend with little kids because I'd be like, why would you do that? Do you know that that's going to come back and haunt you? Like,
Totally.
well,
Totally.
and I think
I see
because
it too,
yeah,
you
because
know?
I think I'm now at the stage where I'm looking at the mistakes I made with
Excuse
my
me.
kids,
Hmm.
right? And when I should have pushed you were really good at pushing independence. I wasn't as good at that. And I think that now I'm in that stage where I see the results of me maybe not doing some things the way I wish I had. So I think that would make me more critical. And
Hmm.
also, I think we're done with parenting because we are of that give it all parenting generation, right? We came
Hmm.
off the heels of our parents
Yeah.
who,
And it was
I
yeah.
mean, it's not that I'm not putting down my parents,
No,
but
no.
they just wasn't the same amount of, let's drive our children every night to five different events.
Yeah.
And if we don't, there wasn't as much guilt parenting, I don't think, in
Hmm.
general, as there was for our generation. I feel like I felt guilty, like if they weren't doing this and they weren't doing that, and I wasn't giving them my whole being.
Yeah.
And I think that was our generation was probably the first generation to do that. Maybe I'm
Hmm.
mistaken, maybe one before, but it
I would agree with
exhausted
that.
us.
Yeah.
It exhausted us, and I'm
Hmm.
exhausted from it. And then you kind of, and now we're of the generation where your kids never completely go away. You've got one back in the house, mine
Hmm.
ping pong around, like, and that's just because of prices of everything, because of whatever, because that's the way it is now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're not growing up as fast as we did in some ways.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I
so
mean,
you're still doing it. So do you really want to watch it start from the beginning again?
no.
Like we always say, if God forbid, and I don't think it's even physically possible, but if we got pregnant, like I don't, oh Lord.
Okay, so now that's actually a follow-up question is if you had a close friend, like I know it wouldn't
You get
it
knocked
wouldn't
up,
be
fuck
me.
you.
You wouldn't be like, "Oh, fuck you, Wendy. We
Bye
can't be friends
bye.
anymore."
I don't know.
But if you had another friend, right? That maybe not, obviously not as close
Like I have
as we
other
are.
friends.
But would that alter your relationship,
I think
your current relationship?
despite the best intentions, and you'd say you'd support that person. The thing is now we're moving closer to retirement. Like I wish it was closer, but it's what, 10 to
10 years,
15
10, 15,
tops,
yeah.
right? So I'm going to want to start doing things that are like, oh, let's go away for a week. Oh,
Hmm.
I'm going to want someone that can drop their current life
Yeah.
or, and of course, would I accommodate that person? Sure. Am I going to see them for a dinner here and there? Am I going to go over? But yeah, the visits are going to be shorter because
Yeah.
your kid is going to drive me nuts
Yeah.
and you're not going to be able to do the things that are important to me. And I am
Hmm.
also going back to that time is valuable thing. I've
Yes.
waited this long to have that type of time.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to, help you breastfeed
Yeah.
while you
Yeah.
go and deal with
I
no.
sure as shit am not babysitting. Don't even fucking ask me.
No, oh my God, no.
No
No, if
way.
someone asked me to babysit, I might cry.
Oh my God. Unless it's
Like I did a
grandkids, but
little
that's a
bit.
different topic
Yeah,
altogether.
yeah, and we're
Yeah.
not there. We don't
No.
want that. We don't want to encourage people to do that. No, no, none of our children or our one listener, Daniel, should be thinking of that. Shout out to Daniel. He's the
Yeah.
one
Our one
person that said he's
listener.
listening.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't be reading. I am reading my notes now.
Well, yeah, that's what we have to do. We have to take notes. So, what do you think at this point in midlife are maybe, let's say, two or three key ingredients to make your friendship last?
Well, it's a commitment. Like you know what? I don't think it's any less and maybe sometimes more commitment and recommitment to the relationship as a romantic relationship. And it's funny because I did a quick Google search of like psychology and friendship at
Okay,
this stage of your life.
as you would.
And it quickly talks about moves to the fact that they're more important than romantic relationships in many ways and that you have to put the same energy there, right? Like it's
Yeah.
that cultivation idea again that you're giving the intention and the time
Hmm.
because it's really easy to get stuck on things you don't like about someone. And I'm not talking about you in any way, but like, I've had this situation with some of my friends that I've got a couple of friendships that I think are more challenging than others. And it's easy to kind of say, well, this isn't working right now, and I don't want to do this, and I don't have time. But you really have to kind of do a bit of an inventory to see,
Hmm.
are those friendships worth holding on to?
Hmm.
And you do have to recommit to them, right? And have some tough conversations sometimes, or face some not so nice truths about people.
So that leads me to letting go of an old friendship. Are we there yet? Or did you? No, that was two questions. It's your turn.
You and I,
No.
you and I,
No, we're not there. I
is
mean, are
this
we
your
there in
way of
our
breaking up
questioning?
with me? This would be a very elaborate breakup. Come join me. I really want you to do this podcast and me kicking and screaming.
So,
And
this is what I
then
have to tell you.
just, it would be so, yeah, that would be
That'd
really
be vicious.
elaborate, but you might get more listenership because it's like,
Drama.
oh,
Um, no, I meant like, are we there as far as like, did you have another a question on like lasting friendships and midlife?
what's funny is I didn't write down questions.
Oh,
That is
okay.
funny. No, I wrote down like thoughts and you
Hmm.
wrote down questions, which is good. So you ask me questions
Okay.
and I will bring, yeah.
So this brings me to what you were just talking about, letting go of old friendships. That can be tricky. Have you, I know you have, had to let go of old friendships. What led to that decision and how did you deal with those emotions after the fact? Like it must have been, in your case, because it was a long-term friendship, I can only imagine that it was like a really nasty breakup, like a romantic breakup almost, right? Like those same emotions where you feel, did you feel a loss? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think as it would, if it was a long-term romantic friendship, it was a long time coming. And I think we had stopped being the friend the other person needed probably a long time ago.
Okay.
And we held tight because of shared history.
Okay.
And I think that that happens a lot. And I think that's where probably a lot of friendships break down in mid at the midpoint.
Hmm.
Because if you are only relying on a shared history and going forward, your values have changed or your perspectives have changed so much so that they can't support you or each other, right? So, I think that's pretty much what happened is that we weren't able to support each other through the changes that we were having,
Okay.
and that we couldn't see each other's reasoning,
Okay.
right? So there was too many and certainly value differences at that time, and not being able to feel fully supported. Like I was going through some really big changes in
Hmm.
my life at that point, and I was starting what I thought was a much happier chapter in my life. And
Yes.
it definitely was. I was leaving some stuff behind that
Hmm.
I wasn't able to deal with anymore. And moving through a divorce and moving through getting into a new relationship, and the support wasn't there. There was too many questions about what I was doing instead of trust. And just, sometimes you blindly, even if you don't, like if you were to do something kind of drastic, I might ask you questions about it. But at the
Yeah.
same point, my loyalty is to you. My
Support.
commitment is
It's,
is to you
yeah,
and to supporting you. And even if I thought you were making a big mistake, I would really try and work through how
understand
to deal
what.
and to deal with you through
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
so that you felt supported, right?
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
And so I think that once you stop being able to offer that support to someone, and once you don't feel that support from someone, the history is not enough.
Okay.
And the other thing that's interesting about that time is that a number of my friendships changed. And I was thinking about this because it's not just that one more significant friendship that I'd had since high school, it was other friends I'd made along the way. And there was a long period where I wasn't happy and I was going out a lot more because I was always looking for happy. Like I was looking for excitement, happiness. I wasn't committed at home as much because I had tried and it didn't work, right?
Right.
And so I was much more social. I was going out more. I was probably a lot more all over the place too, right? Because I
Hmm.
was really working through what to do next. And there was probably a good 5, 6 years like that, maybe more. I don't know. I can't speak to that now, but there were friends that I made along that way that as soon as I settled, because I really settled down afterwards, after the divorce, after being in a new relationship,
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in going out as much. I think I became
That's
calmer.
true,
I think I
actually. I
became
remember. Yeah, I remember
like
like,
I was, yeah, I was content to be at home. I was happier in my own skin. I wasn't like partying, not that I was like super partying, but I wasn't doing the things that the people had met me during that time would have become used to. And there's more than one friendship at that point that I no longer have. So when all of that happened, I could
yeah.
even see like body language, everything with certain people changed. Right. And it's almost
Okay.
like, and maybe this is me projecting, and maybe this isn't the way it is. Maybe I did change. I don't know. But it's almost as if they didn't enjoy this new version of me, like a happier version of me.
Okay.
It's almost like some people want you for your messiness, right? Or for
Yeah. Yeah.
whether I was fun, Teresa, and if you wanted to go out, I was always good to go, or it was next to me, your life looked good. Don't know, right? But that's potentially, Teresa the fuck up was more entertaining than Teresa settled.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I see that too in some people. Like they'll ask me, people I haven't spoken to in a long time, just like randomly, like on Facebook especially, I'll get messages from people I haven't spoken to, and it's
Asking for money.
questions. That's a story for another day.
You're such a good friend. And even like, I would say our differences in the way we kept friends was very early on. You had a larger group of friends than I did. Like
Well, you
you
know
were
what? It
friendly
wasn't
to
even so
everyone.
much, it wasn't really that. Like when I was younger, I had such insecurity. I was quiet. I was, God, if boyfriends, any boyfriend, if they told me to jump, I'd fucking jump. Like it was sad, honestly. Like I look back at myself back then, and And I feel for myself because if I knew now what I know then, I would have been a completely different person. And the friends that I had back then were just fillers, a lot of them. And I know that sounds really bad, but they really were. Like I didn't know myself. I didn't know what I could offer, as a friend. And so it was, yeah, yeah, I'll be friends with you. I'll be friends with you. I'll be friends with Jack and Joe and fucking whoever, right?
But
Like I didn't
you've
care.
maintained those friends. Like social media,
No,
like we're polar opposites. So I have zero social media. You are still
I
on
have to have
social media.
social media. It's my
No,
job.
no, I know. No, this isn't a critique in any way. It's kind
Hmm.
of the way you were in high school. You were much more open and kind to people than I was. Like I was much more aloof, right?
Okay.
Like I didn't have as many, like I wasn't, you were friends with someone from every different like social group or clique, right? Like I would say that you had
Yeah.
friends in all of those. That was not my experience. And it's not, I just don't think that I didn't put that energy out there, right? Like
Hmm.
I was aloof and I was probably judgmental and I was not, and that's and overly picky and not in necessarily a good way, right? Like I don't think that I just thought this person isn't for me, that person isn't for me. And that was kind of, it was rude. But now, like even your social media is what I love. When we get together, I immediately go onto your, I'm like,
Yeah.
let me perv on your Facebook so I can see what everyone's doing. You still have some connection with lots of people.
Sort of. I don't want to
So
say it's
much so that
connection
they ask you
because,
for money.
yeah, they do. That is true. However, I don't want to say that it's not connection in the true sense of the word, right? It's literally just connected technologically on Facebook. That's really all it is. Like there's very few, I could say maybe two or three people that I've actually talked to on messaging more often. Other people, it's just like send a friend request. Oh yeah, yeah, we're friends. Yeah, I remember you, and that's it. Like I haven't spoken to them ever since they became my friend in like 10 years. That's the majority, honestly.
How many close friends do you think you have, like on, if you counted right now?
Right now in my life,
Yeah.
close friends?
Hmm.
Not many. One, two, three, four,
So there's
five.
some sort of psychological rule of five that they say you can't really. So I read it was five, and then somewhere else I read it was seven, that you can't really have more than five to seven close friends. Like you
Okay.
can't.
I
Well,
can
and
see
I
that though.
guess
That's a
it's
lot
what you
to like
define.
maneuver.
Yeah, and it's how you define a close friend too.
Yeah,
Like,
there's that too.
yeah, because
There's
there's
that.
different kind of levels, right? Like it's like level up
Yeah. Like
to someone you would say anything to.
I would agree with that. I think having a lot of like it just doesn't entice me anymore. Like when you're a kid you want like as many friends as possible and to be popular and the whole thing and I don't give a fuck. Like I don't care about any of that. And I don't want a whole bunch of friends. I just don't. Like it's too much work, first of all.
So it's
Too much time, too
exhausting.
much
It's
headspace. It
exhausting.
is. It is.
I'm so social during the
Yeah, for
day,
sure.
just as the nature of my job is that I'm talking to people all day long. Like I'm interacting
Yeah.
with people pretty much all day long. I can hide a little bit, but really like my job is in person. People come to me, I go to people.
Hmm.
So I'm maintaining relationships all day long, right? Some sort of relationship, whether it's employee, employer,
Yeah.
whether it's, the people who I serve in my work. There's someone
Yeah.
I'm always.
See, and that makes sense for you, but like I work from home and I'm kind of isolated. And so you would think I'd be like
I think
thirsting for that
you're
social
more
circle, right?
introverted though.
I think
Yeah,
so.
and I think that
I
you've
think
really
so.
grown
I
into
always
that.
wondered if I was. I think I am. Yeah.
I think I am to the point where after that, I'm exhausted. So if
Hmm.
I am going to engage in friendship afterwards, it has to be like
Hmm.
fulfilling friendship, not draining friendship. And I think
Mm.
that's also a big thing that becomes very noticeable at this age is when something's draining you versus when something's feeding you. Like I go away from
Okay.
our time together and I'm reinvigorated. I feel good. I don't
Yes.
feel as though I'm
100%.
exhausted. I don't feel like
Hmm.
someone's taken something from me. Where there's still
Yes.
other friendships where I feel like someone has taken something from me and I
Like
feel
drained you.
tired.
Yeah.
because it's not
Mm-hmm.
reciprocal. And I think that's something too. So I geeked out and I found a psychologist named Robin Dunbar, who's an
Okay.
evolutionary psychologist and the author of Friends, Understanding the Power of Our Most Important Relationships. And this psychologist, or no, yeah, psychologist suggests that there are 7 areas of overlap that are particularly crucial in forming a solid friendship: speaking the same language, growing up in the same area, having similar career trajectories, and sharing hobbies, viewpoints, and sense of humor and tastes in music. Every close friend pair may not have every one of these things in common, but the more they share, the stronger their friendship is likely to be, this person says. So this is,
That's funny because that's actually quite opposite for you and
well,
I.
I would say so 7 areas. I'm going to say we speak the same language, one. We grew up in the same area, two.
Yes.
Our career
Yes.
trajectories, I think you could say our careers are incredibly different. I'm in not-for-profit
Yeah.
work. You are in
I'm in
marketing
advertising.
and advertising.
Yeah.
Excuse me. However, the what we came to in the thing, like we grow career-wise kind of together, right? Like we're both looking at what we want to do next. And that doesn't have to be for profit, not
Oh,
for
that's
profit. Like
true.
it's sort of
Yeah.
the trajectory. There, he's just talking about
We kind of
trajectory.
want the same things
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And we're sort of at the same point of our careers.
Okay.
Sharing
Okay.
hobbies. What hobbies do we share?
Do you like to craft?
No, like hell no. Have you seen when I've tried to craft? It's like those cake things that go wrong, right? Like I cook or I bake, but you don't really cook or bake.
I don't
No,
bake. No, I
I can
hate
make
it.
candy.
Yeah, you make good
Yeah,
candy
I do.
too.
I'm gonna make some for Christmas. Our viewpoints are similar. Our sense of humor are definitely
Yes,
similar. Our tastes in music,
definitely.
though, because
Couldn't be further
bitch, you
apart.
had to go and like country music.
I like
It's
country,
such a
man. I like
fucking
country.
joke.
What? Shame on you. All of our one country listener, and I can
Oh,
honestly say that's Daniel,
I'm
is now
sorry, Daniel.
disgusted, and we've lost our listener.
No, you know what's happened is you've been brainwashed, Daniel, by your parents to like shit music.
Okay, so as I said in the last episode, I'm going to say in this one,
Okay.
well, last episode, our first take, the reason why we're calling Daniel our listener is because he's been actively interested in when we're recording. He wants to listen to the first podcast. Like he's very, very excited for us. And so that's why we
He's the only
consider him
person,
to be our only
yeah,
listener.
he's the only person that's engaged in this process. So going
Yeah,
forward, when we
fully. Even
refer,
giving me a microphone.
aw, going forward, when we refer to our listenership, it will be known as Daniel.
Yeah. And Daniel is my son, just to make
Daniel,
that clear.
Daniel's son. I
Anyway,
think,
carry on.
well, I think that, I mean, where I think we kind of went wrong in our first take was just we delved into our own friendship so much that it became a bit self-indulgent, and it'll reveal
It
itself,
did,
right?
yeah.
It'll reveal
Yeah,
itself.
over
We've had
time.
a long friendship with a bit of a pause in the middle, and now we are each other's people. And it is
Hmm.
honestly, today's my dad's death day, and I was kind of reflecting on this. Like it's been 18 years today
Wow.
since my dad died, and my mom followed shortly after. And
Hmm.
you're one of my history keepers. If I don't,
Mm.
you've known versions of me that no one else knows, except
Yeah,
for maybe my brother.
same. Yeah.
And so when you see me, you see a whole that not very many people see,
Hmm.
and that becomes more precious. But if it was all that we had, it wouldn't be enough. But
Enough.
because
No.
we've grown, like literally, we've grown up together and grown up as adults,
Yeah.
grown up and continue to
Hmm.
grow and want to grow and are the person, like I can literally tell you if one of my body parts started sprouting, I don't know what, I could tell you and it wouldn't matter and you would just go, oh wow. There's no shame. There's in a good way or a bad
I'd pay
way.
to get it removed.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh shit, here we go. Right? Let me see it.
Let's go. Let's go to the freaking
Removal
plastic surgeon.
today. Yeah. And there's very few people in your life where you can be that vulnerable. And I think that's really is the
Yeah.
key to friendship is who do you feel most at ease with being completely vulnerable?
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree with that. For sure. For sure. You need that space to completely be yourself without any judgments, without any filters, especially. And to me, at this point in my life, that's one of the most important things, honestly. If you don't have that,
Well, the
how do
loneliness
you
factor too, right? And then
function?
when you search up friendship at this age, the first things that come up are about what happens if you don't have it, right? And it's all these very severe warnings about your quality of life, your lifespan. If you don't have those friendships to carry you through the isolation, and because I work so much with seniors, I see it
Hmm.
firsthand, the isolation that can happen when people let go of these friendships. And I'm not saying hold on to every friendship because we've talked about it, some don't serve,
Yeah.
but the ones that want to grow with you, the ones that want to spend more time with you, the ones that you like relish in, that you feel nurtured, nourished, all of it in, you have to keep them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. 100%.
life without them would just be so, especially now, like our kids are all leaving us. I'm like suffering from severe empty nest syndrome right now. And without friendship to look forward to, and knowing I'm going to be
Hmm.
spending more time with you, knowing like being in a good relationship, all of those things, like I don't know, my depression would be, I don't know if I'd get out of bed.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't agree with the empty nest. I didn't feel that, but
Well, you're not there yet either.
that's true.
You have
That's
a
true.
14-year-old
Not
old. No,
completely.
no. Don't
Yeah.
don't
No, that's
don't
true.
forget about
Oh yeah, there's that one.
Well, and you've got one back. And for me, it's just, I'm
Yeah.
sure come Christmas, I'll be over it again. But like right now, it's like that period of time where,
That lull.
well, and no one's calling. Like my boys are, I have one very communicative kid, obviously female, that I can call at any time. And then there's another one that's pretty, like my son's, the eldest is pretty communicative, very demonstrative, always, kind and loving. And then there's the one that left and doesn't think he needs to talk to me anymore. It's just, he's
I
ghosted me. I've
know.
been ghosted by my youngest. And
Yeah,
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 it's like, it's
yeah.
devastating, right? And they don't know. And like, I have these, like, I get pathetic. It's like having an ex-boyfriend or something that you're trying. I'm like, well, I guess I'm no longer important to you. But, if it wasn't for friendship at this point, man,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it'd be
So I
lost.
think we
Be
covered that enough.
lost.
Friendship's going to be
I
obviously a
think so.
reoccurring topic during any episode that we have. It's
Yeah,
the basis of what we're
yeah.
doing. It's why we're doing what we're doing because we enjoy each
Yep,
other. So why shouldn't everyone else? Um,
exactly.
and then going forward, so
Hmm.
next week, or yeah, I guess we're going to try and do this weekly.
Next
Yeah.
week, yeah.
We are going to then decide, we'll decide now, we'll flip something. I might have a coin to decide who gets
Oh,
the
good.
first turn at posing a question. And then,
Okay.
as you said, at any point, should our listener Daniel want to ask us a question, he's more than welcome.
Yes, at
Daniel,
that
you can
point,
reach
if
us at, you made up a web. Yeah.
yeah, I did. So if anybody or listener wants to pose a question for us to discuss, you can leave us a comment or message us on our Facebook page at Mid Podcast is the handle, or shoot us an email at themidconversations@gmail.com.
Very professional. Okay, I
Right? Doesn't
have
that sound
something I'm going to
professional?
flip. I have something that will work.
Okay.
Okay,
So who's
so
it going to
it's going to
be
be
next
large
week?
print or small print. Pick one.
That's what I'm choosing.
Yes,
Large print.
large print. Large print wins.
All right. So it's my topic.
It's your
Question.
question. I'm at your
Okay.
mercy.
I shall bring it.
Bring it on. All right. Well,
Bring it on.
there we go. With some
There we
technical
go.
difficulties and one choking episode, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah.
We had a successful first
I,
podcast.
I think
All
so.
right.
I think so.
Thanks for tuning
Yeah.
in, Daniel, and we'll see you next week
Yeah.
at the mid.
At the mid. Did you stop recording?